Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to go over the new build that just came out for the Shadowlands beta. It's number 36294. I'm only going to go through it because I noticed reading over it on Wowhead that they made some Shaman changes, and the only ones I highlighted at the top was Chain Harness damage was nerfed, and they changed legendaries for all three specs. So I'm going to go down and look at all of them right now. The first talent they changed for Elemental, the PvP talent, and Resto, it says instead of Lava Burst damage being increased by 30%, is now Flame Shock damage. So before, if you had enough haste and you didn't care for the instant cast that Lava Surge gives you, you could take Control Lava in PvP, which it's a smaller percent chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Lava Burst, and it just increases the damage. You still got to cast it though. It doesn't become instant cast. Not sure what's going on in Shadowlands beta that they wanted to decrease the Lava Burst damage and instead increase Flame Shock damage. It probably had to do with something along the lines of the Necrolord Covenant spell that your next one does, that your next Lava Burst hits all targets, because I've noticed in the previous builds I've been reducing that damage as well. It hits all targets that are affected by Flame Shock if you read over it. So I don't know if in PvP they're just multi-dotting and then hitting Control Lava. The next Lava Burst is hitting all targets and it's just doing too much damage. So I'm not really sure why they made this change, but I guess it must have been too strong. I hardly see it. I never use Control of Lava. I could run around and use it, but that's what they've changed so far. I'm not really sure why it says Elemental Enhancement, because there is no Lava Burst on Enhancement. So, but moving on to the next one, that is a change they made. If you're a Lava Burst guy in PvP for Elemental and you were thinking about Control of Lava, your Lava Burst will now decrease in damage. It is Flame Shock increase instead. They changed some things for legendary item effects. Echoes of Great Sundering. It used to, when you cast Earth Shock, your next Earthquake will deal 250% additional damage. It is now only 175. Maybe it was too much great damage in PvE. The next one is Skybreaker's Free Demise. It says, well, this one's an increase actually. It's not a nerf. 50% increased critical strike when you Flame Shock, or it has a 50% increased critical strike. And it still reduces the cooldown of your elementals, which is good. This is a nerf. Windspeaker's Lava Resurgence. When you cast Earth Shock, gain Lava Surge and increase the damage next Lava Burst by 20%. Sounds amazing in PvP. Another 30% when you get Lava Surge. I mean, you can even couple with Control of Lava. 30% from the old Control of Lava, 30% from Windspeaker's Lava Resurgence. You can almost one-shot people, or close to it. Soulbind Conduits. Seems like this is a buff though, which is really cool because I always like running around with the Elemental. Your Elemental lasts 35% longer at base, and then you can see the ranks and increases up to 50%, which is just amazing. I think it lasts 15 seconds, so it lasts 22 seconds or so, 28 seconds, which is an extremely long time. Especially for the Storm Elemental, for sure. And they reduce, this is a nerf, Lightning Bolt has a 25% chance to generate double Maelstrom. They just reduced that down. Guess people are getting Maelstrom too quickly for their liking. Earth, then Pyroclastic Shock. Earth Shock has a 15% chance to extend the duration of Flame Shock on the enemy by 12 seconds. Good thing, because 4 seconds seemed kind of low, in my opinion. So that's good. You don't have to try to throw another Flame Shock in there. A waste of a global cooldown just to redot it. Well, I guess it could save you one, is what I mean. Shake the Foundations. Casting Earthquake now has a 10% chance to give you a Chain Lightning instant cast at a random enemy in the Earthquake. It used to be 15%. They dropped it down to 10. I don't know if it must have been happening too many times. I'm not really sure why they changed it. Guess it was too good. Enhancement. Now we're on to enhancement stuff. Windfury weapon. They finally increased the damage because it's terrible right now. Imbue your main hand weapon with the element of wind for an hour. Each main hand attack has a 25% chance to trigger 2 extra attacks, dealing now 32% of attack power, physical damage each. It was 10.8%. I think that kind of falls in what on right now. I did the math on live. It seems like it's around between 10 and 15%. It's terrible. The most I've ever gotten out of it was maybe a 600 hit if you're running the talent that increases the damage. I've got it to hit up to 600. So that's pretty good now in the beta, because it's like saying there's a 250% damage increase in it. So if you're attacking long enough and you can proc Windfury enough times, you can get the damage to around 1500 instead, which is considerable. That's a considerable jump compared to what it was. Definitely. I mean, even sometimes Lava Lash barely does under 2k. And if you get your Windfuries, which is just an extra attack without really having to do anything to get up to that amount, which is really good. Here's where stuff gets real interesting. Legendary item effects. Doom Winds. Dropping Windfury Totem grants you a 100% chance to gain Windfury weapon and increases Windfury weapon damage by 100% for 12 seconds. But it can only occur once every 1 minute. So they increase the duration, and now you get a damage increase, which is good because it was no good before. Another 100% damage increase for the 12 seconds. If you tried to time it at the time that you had the 5 stacks of the Windfury talent up, and they're critting around 1500 now they're critting around 3000 for 12 seconds, which is really cool. If you can time it right, that's a lot of damage straight up. PvP wise, sounds to me that if you want to try to burst someone down in the 12 seconds, you can charge in, drop the Windfury weapon, the Windfury totem first, come in with a Storm Strike. You're going to proc the Windfury, and if you have enough haste, you could probably get most of your swings off before the 12 seconds are up. You're probably able to burst down someone, which is really good because Windfury is kind of it's an iconic move for the Shaman. It's the whole reason why I've been playing Shaman for 15 years. And for them to have the damage kind of low kind of sucks. So it's really cool that this change is implemented. I'm really looking forward to the Shadowlands now to run around with Doom Winds and Windfury weapon. Next one is Legacy of the Frost Witch. Consuming 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon will reset the cooldown of Storm Strike and cause your next Storm Strike to deal only 15% increased damage. It used to be 100. Now I've had my Storm Strikes crit up to 4k or so. 100% increased damage would be like 8k, which is really cool. I mean, the burst on that would be like you roll up to someone, that. You hit a 5 stack of Maelstrom, you hit him with a lightning bolt, then you hit him with a frost shot because if you're running Hailstorm, and then your next Storm Strike deals 100% increased damage. You could probably 3-shot somebody, which is amazing to me, but they're gonna. I guess it was just too good, and some. It was just too good in certain situations, I suppose. Primal Lava Actuators. Each time Flame Shock deals periodic damage, increase the damage of your next Lava Lash by 12% and reduce the cooldown of Lava Lash by half a second. This is really cool, I suppose, if you're running Hot Hand. The only problem I have with Lava Lash is that it doesn't do that much damage for how long the cooldown is. So just increasing the damage by 12%. I guess it's good. It says periodic damage, so I guess what? The Flame Shock is 18 seconds. It takes 6 times. I guess you can get it up to a good amount. If it's a really long fight, something like this is probably really good if you actually can proc Hot Hand and you have Primal Lava Actuators. It's good. It also works with the conduit that increases your critical strike of lava lash on a target that has flame shock on it. We're gonna get to that in a second. The conduits. So pretty good if you like that move. Next one, Witch Doctor's Wolf Bones. Increase the chance to gain a stack of Master Weapon by 3%. And whenever you gain a stack of Master Weapon, cooldown Pharaoh Spirit is reduced by 2 seconds. I guess it was too good at 5. People were getting too much Maelstrom, I suppose. Not really too sure why they make those changes. Focus. So on the Soulbind conduits, it says Maelstrom Weapon increases damage or healing of your next spell by an additional 1% per stack. It was almost 10% at, and you can only consume 5 stacks at a time. So your next damage was another 50% on top of that, which is really cool. Must have been too good or something. They nerfed it. Magma Fist. Lava Blast has an additional 15% crit strike against enemy's favorite flinch. There it is. So, when you combine it with Primal Lava Actuators, you could do some considerable good damage. I'm not sure why they reduced the crit chance down. It used to be 50% chance at the highest rank. Now it's 25%. So they basically cut the crit chance in half. 50% is cool. It doesn't make any... Me personally, it doesn't make too much sense. It kind of does, but it doesn't. Hot Hand, you literally can get 3 off before the buff is gone. And even if it wouldn't be that much damage increase. Well, I guess it is. I guess if you ran Primal Lava Actuators with Hot Hand and Magma Fist, and you somehow procced it on someone in PvP or whatnot, and then you had the highest rank at 50%, I mean, you're guaranteed those 3 hits are going to hit really, really hard. They're going to crit. It's going to hit for, 4K and up. I've hit pretty hard at Lava Lashes, so you're talking, this is at level 62, so you're talking about, 5Ks or 6Ks 3 times in a row. Guess it's too bursty. Now, Unruly Winds, this conduit works really well with Doom Winds and Windfury weapon, but it was nerfed. Windfury weapon has a 20% chance to trigger a 3rd attack, which is amazing to me. I haven't been running Windfury weapon or Windfury lately because the damage is boo-boo. It's just bogus. I actually run double flame tongues. It doesn't matter even the fight. It just doesn't do enough damage for me. It needs to be a really long fight. Good for boss. Or whatnot. But it's better now that, you could roll up. You could drop the... now, since the changes to Windfury weapon and Doom Winds, you can technically roll up to someone, drop a Windfury totem, hit him with a Storm Strike, and slap the Windfury weapon has a 100% chance to proc now, and 100% damage, and the damage is increased, and you'll hit it with a 3rd one. So I can understand why they changed it from 80% at max down to 35%, because it probably would always hit 3. I don't know. I don't even know if the Doom Winds, it says increased chance to gain Windfury weapon. Does that also increase the chance to proc the Unruly Winds 3rd one as well? That'd be really cool. But I don't know if... I guess you 100% chance to proc the first 2, but still only a 20% chance to proc the 3rd one, up 35. But that's very, very bursty, in my opinion. I like it. Don't really know why they changed it. I think that is the specialty of Shaman, is be bursty. You don't really have very many things to keep people at bay or away from you, or everyone complains about survivability, so I think the trade-off would be to be nice and bursty. Now on to the next one, Restoration, legendary item effects, Earthen Harmony. Looks like they reduced the Earthen Shield healing by half, but they increased if the Earthen Shield target is below 75% health now instead of 50. Healing Wave adds a stack of Earth Shield. Don't know if Earth Shield was doing too well in any setting, but they did change it. I wasn't really running Earthen Harmony when I play Resto. I still like the double Lava Burst talent. I can't think of the talent, so Spirit Walker's Tidal Totem. After using Mana Tide Totem, the cast time of Healing Wave and Chain Heal is reduced by 50%. And the mana cost of Chain Heal and Healing Wave is reduced by 25%. Now, this is really interesting because before, the mana cost is reduced by 100%, meaning you can drop Mana Tide Totem, and as you're gaining mana, you're basically gaining a little bit of haste on those two moves. So you can, it's almost like you drop a totem to gain mana, but you also are getting like a emergency heals out, and you don't lose any mana as well. And as long as you can just keep getting all the chain heals out, all the healing waves up, or whatever, by the time you're done after 10 seconds, you should have a lot of mana, and you healed everyone to full. Probably why they changed it to 25%, so you can't just be spamming heals, and you still have to be more thoughtful about the gameplay. The only problem is Mana Tide Totem has like an 8-yard radius. It's terrible. If you're in the LFR, you're basically only going to drop it, and it's only going to heal yourself because you're the only one around it. But, you know, if you're in a group and you're in Discord and there's communication, you probably could drop it. Everyone's going to pile up on you, and then when you drop it at a certain point in time or whatnot. So that's probably what's intended. So down to the conduits, Heavy Rainfall. Healing Tide Totem increased the healing of your healing rain by 160%. Now it's down to 75%. I don't really even use healing rain that much, but this kind of conduit, I definitely would have. I always drop Healing Tide Totem, running the double Healing Tide Totem talent, and if everyone groups up, and you can get your chain heals or your healing rains up to 300% as your group, that's amazing. Very cool for group healing. They nerfed it. Must have been just too good, which that's what they like to do to us. On to the next one, Nature's Focus. Chain Heal has a 40% chance to jump to an additional ally. They reduced that, they took that away, but now it's just the primary target of your Chain Heal is healed for an additional 10% up to 20. Before it would be like had an 80% chance at top rank to jump to additional person. Now, as far as I remember, Chain Heal, every time it jumps, it loses potency basically, and that would mean that if it jumped a third time, it would be like useless, down to 25% of the initial. My guess would be, you know, if you heal for 10k, the fourth person would get a 2500 heal, which is possibly useless. And instead, maybe they people suggested that they'd rather have just, if you have the primary target has if it's healed for additional 10%, that should trickle down to the 2 jumps, and they probably thought that would be better. That's better conduit, and it is in effect. Now, Covenant abilities, they basically changed Chain Harvest. They nerfed it. It's down to 205% spell power, so 310. Now, if you play, Chain Harvest is like a Chain Heal and a Chain Lightning all at once. It has a cast time. You get it off. Chain Lightning's basically everyone, and it Chain Heals anyone around that target too, which is cool. I don't know what the range is on it for healing yourself. Like if you're 40 yards, if it had a 30-40 yard range, if you're 40 yards away, will it still heal you if you're that far away from the target? But it does work with the 5-stack of Maelstrom. You're basically like a free Chain Heal and Chain Lightning at once, and must have been too good because they nerfed it. So instead it does 205% of spell power. They also probably changed some things with Covenant abilities, only so it's more even with the other 3, and it's viable to it's a little more viable to pick other Covenants. If they change the damage or something on one of the Covenants, more than likely it's because everyone was picking it or something, so they make changes so it's more spread out. Legendary item effects, Chains of Devastation. Casting Chain Heal makes your next Chain Lightning instant cast and deal 50% increased damage for elemental enhancement only, not resto. Casting Chain Lightning makes your next Chain Heal instant cast and consume no mana. This is a really good change. Crazy thing is you get this in PvP. You can get this legendary item effect in PvP. I don't know if I would use this. I don't really use Chain Lightning in PvP. It's kind of like less than half damage of a lightning bolt, so it isn't my go-to button when I have 5 stacks of Maelstrom. But since you get a free Chain Heal out of it, and you didn't have to waste your, you technically didn't have to waste your 5 stacks on a healing surge. Instead, you could at least do some damage and do a heal and heal your party if you're next to anyone. And it's instant cast, and it costs no mana. So you're basically getting a free chain heal or a free heal with no cast, and you at least you get to do a little bit of damage, and you get to save on that mana too. Heals consume a shitload of mana. Oops, excuse me. So good thing is it says chain heal, your chain lightning is instant cast and it deals 50% increased damage. So I'm pretty sure that could stack with Stormkeeper and Earthen Spike, so you have an increase of 220% on the target if you hit Earthen Spike, 5 Maelstrom stack, Stormkeeper, hit a chain heal into a chain lightning. Well, I guess that wouldn't work only because you used your 5 stacks on. I guess it would be. I guess the initial one would be 150, then the second one would be 200, not including the 20% of the Earthen Spike. But you'd have to Earthen Spike, Stormkeeper, Chain Lightning. That will give you the free chain heal. So you hit chain heal. That will increase the damage of that next second chain lightning that you get from Stormkeeper up to 200%. Then it's usually get a free chain heal as well. So the good thing about this is if you're in a bind and your whole group's taking damage, instead of blowing it on one small healing surge or try to do a lightning bolt to keep doing damage, and you have to decide between healing and doing damage, I'm pretty sure you could hit a chain lightning into a free chain heal and vice versa. Actually, it'd be better to do a chain heal first so you get the increased damage on the chain lightning. So it'd be chain heal, chain lightning, chain heal, chain lightning, back and forth till you just ran out of mana, technically. So I say I wouldn't. I don't know how this would be in a PvP setting, but actually, it's not too bad. PvE setting is really good. It's like a nice AOE damage, and it helps a group heals if it's needed. So these conduits they change. The next one is Elsian Dirge. Vesper Totem is 40% more effective against the targets nearest to it instead of 100. I'm guessing it was way too good, not on a boss setting wise, but also PvP wise. Because it used to do, it would like pulse every time you did a damage or whatever, it'd pulse extra AoE damage. It wasn't that good for single target, but this conduit makes it better, and perhaps it's too good, especially if it's one-on-one in PvP. You drop a totem and it's doing before 200% damage. So now it's up to 82 at top rank. Probably was too effective, and that's why they changed it. They probably also changed it because maybe everyone was picking Kyrian or whatever it's called, picking Vesper Totem over the other covenants, so they had to make some changes so it's not that good. Now the last one, essential extraction. Fade Transfusion deals 30% increased damage and channels 30% faster, so is increased 100%, and the rank changes up to 45%. Now for enhancement, I've been looking at Fade Transfusion for resto damage. We don't really have that good of AoE, not including Chains of Devastation now, for resto damage. Like I like to battle shaman it up. So I was looking at Fade Transfusion for better, more AoE damage style besides just using Chain Lightning, since it's capped at 3. And I'm not really sure if 5 stacks of Maelstrom affects, since this is, I think it's a 2-second channel. I'm not really sure if 5 stacks of Maelstrom actually just does the whole channel at once, and it's an instant cast, and you don't have to channel it. But they say in previous builds that you gain 1 stack of Maelstrom if you finish channeling it. Now, if you have it all the way up to top rank at 45%, it means it could be like sub 1 second cast, not sub, but a little over 1 second. I'm pretty sure it should be affected by haste, so there's a chance that even if you're standing around, you could try to challenge it to get it off if you don't have a free chain heal or whatnot. Enhancement Shamans have quite the abilities for AoE. I saw that they changed a couple builds ago that the Night Fae ability splits the damage evenly, so it's good for single target now if there's nobody around. It's also, I looked into this because it's very good for, if the range is 30 to 40 yards, At least you can get someone as they're running away or playing keep away from you if you needed. It also pretty sure has a heal as well. Don't know what the healing range is on it. If you got to be super close, I would like to think not. But that's a nice little buff there if you're thinking about going Night Fae like myself, just to be different. So that's it for this week's build that they come out with for Shadowlands. Thanks so much for watching. Hit it with a thumbs up. Post down in the comments what your thoughts on any of these changes or your thoughts of Shadowlands in general. Hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.